Welcome everyone to the new Plauti product update. It's fantastic to have you all here today, and I hope you are as excited as I am for the latest update on our data quality solutions. And if so, we are announcing today that Plauti is planning to organize this product updates to be a periodic event with a 2-month cadence. So buckle up for this new webinar series. Yeah, basically, we're going to start by giving a very quick, super quick presentation of your host today, our company overview, philosophy and missions, and naturally today's agenda. So let's start by telling you my name. My name is Nicola. I'm the one on the right here, account executive at Plauti, and the co-host for today's panel. And together with me today is my colleague Ruben, product owner, and one of the masterminds behind our high data quality management solutions. And this is us, this is Plauti, generating data happiness since 2013. It's 10 years now. Plauti is the company behind the Plauti data management suite, duplicate check, record validation, and the data action platform. Now, super quickly, duplicate check, most of you know already, we're like very present in the App Exchange. It's our data quality solutions to find, merge, and prevent duplicates at any point of entry. Our record validation is our solutions to validate and format email addresses and phone numbers, and as well as physical addresses. Data action platform, the newly entry in our Plauti family, is our mass action tool enabler. We made it to empower user into Salesforce in performing bulk actions. And the last but not the least is our Plauti data management suite. Our complete data management solutions, which enables your Salesforce to be your single and complete source of truth by deduplicating, validating, consolidating, and standardizing custom records in your CRM. On top of that, all our Plauti actions are applications are 100% native Force.com solutions. We do provide Salesforce safety, peace of mind, and of course, like more efficient implementations, together with the full integration with your Salesforce business logic and custom processes. Now, here is a brief dolly shot of our global customers in data quality. And you might recognize your company as well in here. As you can imagine, yes, they're all Salesforce users. However, more than the tool itself is the new way of the envisioning customer experience and the need to build a true customer 360 view that is connecting all our partners. They need to add great value to their Salesforce solutions and the Salesforce powers, and then user alike with less tech headache implementation and with a few easy steps as well. But on today's agenda, Ruben is going to show us the latest product updates for a data action platform, record validation, and duplicate check. And again, we want to keep this interactive, so we're going to shoot some polls during the webinar, and we're going to conclude with the Q&A session after the showcases. Of course, you're free to drop in your questions in the Q&A Zoom section at any time, and it's here, of course, in the middle. We're aiming to wrap up everything by 45 minutes, more or less, give or take. The recording will be also provided to you by email, and we do encourage you to stick around until the end and even to drop some questions during the presentation. Now, without further ado, I will leave the stage to my colleague Ruben.
Yeah, thanks, Nicola, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Ruben. I'm the product owner for Plauti. I have the pleasure to show you what we did recently. Plauti has a product suite nowadays. We have 3 applications, well, 4 actually, counting the data or the Plauti data management application as well. And yeah, like Nicola said, we are nowadays doing a release for our products once every 2 months. And we want to do a webinar like this, a product update webinar once every 2 months as well. So if this is interesting to you, then yeah, definitely sign up for the other webinars as well. You will see an email in your email box when the release is near. So today I want to highlight 3 features that we launched, one for data action platform, one for record validation, and one for duplicate check. And I would like to start with the data action platform. The data action platform is a tool which we launched in last May. So it's a brand new tool, and it is a tool to basically run bulk actions on your Salesforce data. and it is a native tool. So everything happens within Salesforce, and there is no data transfer needed in order to make changes to your data. And we can do a lot of things with the data action platform, and we are continuously expanding our action library, which contains actions which you can run on your data. For example, we currently work with these 6 actions. We are able to assign ownership of records or reassign ownership. This is something that I'm going to tell more about in the demo that I'm going to do in a second. We have a tool which is able to do bulk task creation in a really nice way. We can do mass converts, mass deletes, mass updates, and we can set account hierarchy for accounts. And all these tools are very user-friendly, and basically you can execute them without having to export your data, do stuff in Excel, import it back again with all the security concerns that come with that. So what we've created new in the data action platform is the ability to create a macro. And a macro for us is if you do a task over and over again, so a repetitive task, we can create a macro for that task, which you can execute without having to reconfigure it. So let me show you an example of that. We can start actions that we just saw in 2 ways. We can start it from a list view. So you can select a couple of leads, and then you can find the action launcher in the top right, in which you can select the action you want to execute and configure it. But what we can do as well is do it from a job perspective, which is a batch job, which is able to run an action on a really large set of records asynchronously. So for example, I have a lot of new leads that I gathered from a trade show, and I want to assign them evenly to my sales team, which is a common practice in Salesforce, of course, might be a familiar practice for you as well. So what I want to do is reassign new leads. And then I select the object, I find my lead object, and then I find my filter, and I want to target records that attended the trade show, the World Tour in San Francisco, which is actually still need to happen in September this year. Then I add a filter on create a date, and I want to use a date literal. So I can say the records that I've imported today. And if they meet both criteria, so I can add some filter logic here, then I want to target those records, right? Just to indicate that the data action platform can set really intense and really extensive records, so you can target specific subset of your database. So when I click next, I will find my action launcher again, and I can see assign ownership. Clicking next again. And this is the action itself, where I can configure the users that I want to distribute the leads that I've selected amongst. So what I can do, I can look them up. So in my database, I have a great sales team consistent of the Avengers, which might be familiar to you. So Captain America, who else? Black Widow. And we've got, let me see, I've written it down because I cannot remember it. The Incredible Hulk is in there as well. So now the leads that I've selected, 231 from the trade show in San Francisco, I can distribute those leads evenly under my sales team. But what I can do as well is I can change it to a custom distribution, because Iron Man is my top salesman. I want to give him 50% of all the new leads. Captain America will get 10%. Black Widow will get 10%, and the Hook will get the last 30%. So in total, we're going to divide 100% of the leads that we've selected. I can now click next and execute this, but this is a great example of what we can use in a macro. So if you're going to do this over and over again, if you have lists of new records on a daily basis, and you don't want to configure this each time, you want to build a macro for this. And that is what the new feature in the data action platform is all about. So this configuration I can set in a macro, and I'm going to do that via the dep setup, which I can access here. And we're going to the action library on the left side, and I can create a new macro on the top right side. Then we are going to base the macro based on the assign ownership. We can create our own name for the new macro action that we want to create here. Assign leads to sales. Then we can select the object we want to create this macro for, and we can select an icon. And I think this is a nice one. Clicking next, I can configure the action itself. So I'm gonna add the team again. I can also do it via a group, for example, which will, oh no, it's not the sales group, it's the Avengers group, of course. Then I can go to my custom distribution again. I said Iron Man will get 50, right? And then 10, and then 10. And the Black Widow will get 30. Clicking next, I will get a summary of the macro that I'm about to create. And then I can click create. Then it's added to my action library overview. What's left for me to do is assign this new macro to a profile or to a user in Salesforce who has access to this. In Data Action Platform, a big thing is that you are able to distribute these actions to certain users. And that way you can create power users in Salesforce. So Data Action Platform is not a tool for administrators only, but it's definitely a tool for all other departments in your organization as well. So for example, maybe you want to assign this new macro to your marketing department or to your revenue operations team, and another one maybe mass updates to your sales team if they have a specific use case for that. And that's all possible within the Data Action Platform. So now when I go to the assignment here for my new macro, you can see all the profiles here, and none of them have access to this macro currently. I'm the system administrator, so I want access for this macro in the job and in the list view. So I need full access, and I'm going to save it. So you can now see that assign leads to sales is a macro and it's assigned to the system administrator. So now when I go to the job again, and if I quickly create the same job here, so assign leads to sales, my new job, select the object, add a filter. I had the trade show filter and the created date with a date literal of today, which will target exactly the records I want to target with the filter logic 1 and 2. And then you can see my macro. You can click next. You'll get a summary of what you're about to do. Iron Man will get 50, 10, 10, and 30. And then I can just simply start the batch job, which will now divide the leads to sales. So that's basically in a nutshell what macros do. It really makes the entire process more efficient. If we take a look at our roadmap, macros are going to get much more interesting. What we are launching next in the Data Action Platform is the ability to schedule jobs, so to automate jobs. And then macros, of course, are great tools to be using here. So that's what's coming up. And besides that, a feature that we're working on as well is the ability to link certain macros together. So not only you can assign leads via the assign ownership action, but as a second step, you can do a mass update on certain fields and maybe create a task. So you can bulk together macros or actions and execute them basically in sequence via a scheduled batch job. So yeah, pretty nice, I guess. So this is the Data Action Platform. This is what we released new. We have trials for this tool, so you can check it out yourself if you're interested in this. And I guess, Nicola, we have a poll around this topic. We're curious what you guys think about this. So yeah, maybe you can tell us something about that.
Yep, launching the poll. Just mentioning the question of the poll here also, so everybody can hear it, is having data management in mind, how many repetitive mass action could you lift to be set as a macro? And we are already having some answers back. Yeah. So we see like between like a 5 and 10. Somebody else also like not following it, right? So that's cool. Yep, we're gonna give the results by the end of the poll.
I cannot see the results right now, Nicola. What is the most answered option?
At the moment, is still the 1 to 5 mass actions, repetitive mass actions.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, thanks for answering. Let's proceed, right?
Yep, let's go for it.
Okay. So the next tool that we want to highlight is record validation, which is a tool that we have in our product suite, which is able to validate addresses, so physical addresses, email addresses, and phone numbers. And we can do that. We have end user features for this. So when you enter a new record manually, we can make sure that the record is validated. But we can also do this automatically. So when you have, for example, an influx of data via an API, then upon insert, we can check the values, we can validate them, we can autocomplete them, we can enrich it with new information. So the tool is getting pretty broad in that sense. A thing that we now added is transliteration, which we want to highlight real quick. And just so I can understand it or I can explain it better, I want to show you the RV entry feature first. So RV entry is our replacement entry page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new contact here, which will bring up RV entry, your record validation entry. And this is a typical end user feature, which empowers your end users to create valid records in Salesforce. This page also works with duplicate check, by the way. So if you enter a record that already exists in the system, then record validation will notify you of this as well. So if I now create Ruben van de Kamp, which is my name, and if I do it again, then duplicate check will notify me, hey, you're about to create a duplicate record, which is, of course, good to know for the end user. Part of this page is validating values. So for example, we got business phone here, so I can enter my mobile phone number. And if I go away from the field, you can see that it will be validated. You can see that the country code is added at the beginning. And if we hover over this icon here, we can see what kind of line type this is. So in this case, this is a mobile phone number, so it can find that it's a mobile phone number and we can return it to the user. What we can do as well is store this information in a custom field so that you can run reports on this. So for example, say, give me all the leads with mobile phone numbers, for example. So if I do a landline number, it will be able to tell me that as well. So the line type is a fixed line here. And like this, we can give back a lot of line types, a lot of different line types to the user, and we can store that information in Salesforce as well.
We have a quick,
another part is,
we have a quick question related to record validation from Jorg. Is asking, record validation can also change entries to apply to certain nomenclatures and not just as autocomplete. And he's also mentioned an example. Every time someone enters Gesellschaft mit Best Abtung to make it a GmbH.
Well, this is not something that record validation does. It doesn't standardize account names in that sense. Record validation is really about validating emails, phone numbers, and addresses. And it has no options for validating account names, for example, or to standardize names like that. So that's not part of the tool. Quickly want to run by the email. So if I enter my email, my work address, and when I move away from the fields, we'll do a quick check as well. If I hover over the icon again, then you can see that the email is correct and confirmed as a real user. Now our email check is really thorough. So if I, for example, remove the dot here, then regular expression-wise, this is a perfect email, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but still we can see that this email is not registered at the email service provider and it will bounce. And this information we can store as well, of course, in Salesforce. So we can store if your email address is valid or not valid. And if you have an email campaign, for example, then you can only include email addresses that are valid. So your sender reputation score, your deliverability rate will go skyrocket. Our email campaigns, for example, have a deliverability rate of 99.9% because we only target emails that are valid, and we know that before sending, which is of course great for your sender reputation. And the last one is the address, and this is also part of the transliteration that we offer. So we can look up addresses via the top bar. So for example, if I enter a partial address, so this is the street where I live, you can see that the street in Holland is common 4 times. So this is my the city where I live, and then I can maybe enter a house number as well. And I can click it. It will divide it to the right field, so we'll auto-complete it, because I didn't give in the mail, state, or province. I didn't give in the postal code nor the country, but it will auto-complete it, and it will show me, or it will post the correct address from the local postal authority from that country in the right format, which is good stuff, of course. And you can see that the current address is verified up to house number level. Now, what we've added here is transliteration. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. So let's say we are going to add a new account, and that account is going to be the Public Library of Athens. And the Greek people use a different character set than we do. And I've copied an address here, or a phone number. So just to see here how it works, at the top right, we can change the country to Greece. And then I've got a phone number for the public library in Athens, which is 21088-46011. And like for the Netherlands as well, for any country in the world, we can standardize it towards the format of Greece. So you can see that we ended the country code here, and it's a fixed line. And for the address, so maybe we only have the Greek address, right? So you can simply copy and paste it in the billing street, and then we can validate the current address. For me, this is not a readable format. I'm not really good at reading Greek. So what transliteration does, it transliterates from one script to another. And in record validation, we can transcript from any to any script. We support Latin, of course, Cyrillic, Greek, Hebrew, Kanji. We support simplified Chinese, Arabic, Thai, and Hangul. I will share a link to a blog which we wrote about this in the chat in a second. And it's pretty useful. We created this for a couple of use cases. For example, we have a couple clients with branches all over the world, and I already clicked the button. I was supposed to highlight it better, but I've now validated this address, and you can see that it transcribes this from Greek to the Latin character set. For me, this is a readable format, and good to know this is the official address, of course, which corresponds with the Greek address. But I was talking about this company has different branches in the world, and they have an address with, or they have a database with addresses in simplified Chinese, and they use our tool to transliterate the simplified Chinese addresses to the Latin character set so that it's readable for branches in Europe as well as company branches. So that's one use case. There are many more use cases that we have for this. I will share the link in the chat in a second. So in record validation, we can do this from a user perspective, right? But we can also do it in a batch job, which allows you to transliterate, or for that matter, to validate all the existing records in Salesforce. We can do that from the RV job. And you can see that I ran an email validation batch job before, and there is a transliterate McDonald's addresses job over here just to show you what we can do. So I ran this job on my McDonald's addresses. And if I open them up, you can see here that we transliterate the address to a readable Latin character set in this case. So this is Russian, this is Israeli, simplified Chinese, and this is the Greek character set, but we support other character sets as well. So yeah, just in a nutshell, what we can do with transliteration, I think I feel a poll coming up, Nicola.
Yeah, we have also one question. I think it's relevant as we talk about also the jobs and other ways that we can validate records. Somebody from our viewers is asking, can record validation work with context created via API or only when manually created?
Yeah, that's a good question. So definitely we can do that. We have a really nice system in place, which is able to validate incoming records at the second that it reaches the Salesforce servers. And it happens fully automatically. So record comes in, we validate it automatically based on an extensive rule set, which you can configure. We're not going to see it today, but if you're interested in this, feel free to reach out to us and we can set up a personalized demo and we can see this functionality for you in your org.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we can launch our second poll of today. It's about a record validation, and the text is like, imagine record validation into your CRM. What will be the impact on your business? And let's see what our attendees are gonna evaluate the solution about now. Since this is more popular, Ruben, like a lot of people are actually replying to it.
So yeah, I cannot vote myself, so I cannot see the results.
That's okay. To me. Yep. At the moment, we have on the top entering records quickly and with already valid informations. Seems to be the most value for our viewers. Yeah, quickly followed by reducing failed deliveries, and of course, last one to be increased outreach rate.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we have some statistics about entering records quickly. There is a blog about that as well. But I think that there was some investigation done using like this autocomplete feature. You can enter an address without any mistakes, of course. But I thought it was 40% quicker than if you simply have to enter every field one by one.
Okay, our second poll is completed. And yes, the results are the same. So most of our viewers see the value of entering records quickly with more valid informations. I guess that we can move ahead. Actually, no, wait, sorry. There is one more question from York. It says, on the accounts, they have a standard address field and as well as a local field for addresses. Could we use transliteration to fill the international street into a certain field every time someone locally enters a local language street field?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. So the transliteration is also accessible via API. So this is something you could develop yourself. And what you can do if you want to transliterate existing addresses and keep the address that you have in the current script, you could, for example, decide to duplicate the address field set into, for example, the international notation and the notation in the current script, and then run an RV job on the international field sets, which will transliterate everything. So you can transliterate all your legacy data as well while keeping the addresses in their current scripts. So yeah, that's definitely possible. Feel free to reach out to us to let us show you how we can do it.
So,
yeah. Okay, so last up is duplicate check, of course, which might be familiar to some of you. Of course, it's our most used app. And we're currently working with the team on a project to redesign the duplicate check job page, which is a familiar page to you guys. It's the page where you run duplicate check jobs to find existing duplicate records, but also it is able to display records that come in via APIs, which you don't want to process automatically. Well, this is the page where you can process them manually. So what we started with in the redesign is the results pages for single object jobs and for cross object jobs. And what we're going to do next is redesign the page that we're looking at right now. Is the job overview. And we are going to rebuild the entire overview we're going to introduce lighting web components. So we're going to make it much more in style with the Salesforce style to create a seamless experience and the same user interface as Salesforce uses itself. Later on, I will show a slide with what we're doing for the job overview itself, but now let's focus on the results page. So I've got a lead duplicates job here, which I'm going to open, and you will see that the new interface will load. So it's made out of Lightning Web Components, which is much quicker. So you will find out yourself if you are in this page a lot, and if you see a lot of groups on a daily basis, you will now be able to go through the groups much more quicker. Looks much more clean, of course, in comparison with the other page. If I now open the first group, for example, you can find these 3 Jennifer Blake records here, which we can, of course, merge. So we can open up the merge modal, make decisions, and do the merge, which is also much more quicker. So it's definitely in terms of speed and performance, we made big improvements here. If we hover over the menu here, we can switch to pair view. And this is interesting because it shows you in a group what connections we've made between the records. So it's basically a sort of an analysis of how the group was formed together. So you can see that record A is a match with record B, record A is a match with C, and B is a match with C as well. So in this case, the entire group, or all the records in the group, are linked to each other. They are matched, and they match by the scenario with the higher matching percentage than the threshold which was assigned. You can also quick merge now simultaneously, so you can open all the groups, and if you're happy with the duplicate, you can click quick merge and go on to the next. So basically it's all about speed. It's much quicker. We're able to share entire results pages. So if I hit the share button here, I can create a direct link, and I can copy it to my clipboard, and then I can share it maybe with a team member and say, hey, maybe you want to go through this list and merge the duplicate records in there. You can also do it by creating an email, or sending an email, or creating a task in Salesforce. And the nice thing is that if you put a filter on a results list with, for example, the group contains record owner and then myself, and then I'm clicking done and save, it will only show duplicate groups where I am the owner of. And you could say that it makes sense to let users merge their own records because they know the records and they can make the best decisions. And if I now share this results page with myself in this matter, and if I open it, then I'm not able to remove the filter. So I can only access the records that are now shared with me. So I cannot access any other groups that might belong to other users in Salesforce. That's a really nice use case which you can follow. So you can not only share like the entire results page, but we can also share individual groups, which is new. So you can here go to share groups, and then generate a direct link, send an email, or create a task for one group specifically that you want to share with a team member to take a look at and maybe even merge. So if we go back to the job overview, and I see that Kim asks a question, can you exclude an owner using the filter? Yes, that's possible as well. So let me quickly show you. We can set up a filter here based on group contains record owner. And you could also say not equal to Ruben or Iron Man, and then set up a filter like this. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility. So going back to the overview, in duplicate check, you can run an object in one object, and we can work with any object in Salesforce, also custom objects. But we're able to run a cross-object job as well, so we can compare any to any object. But in Salesforce, we can convert leads to contacts, and we can convert them to accounts or to person accounts. So it definitely makes sense to once in a while run a cross-object job to see if some of the leads that you have already exists as a contact, or can be linked to an existing account in your Salesforce or a person account. We call it a cross-object job, and I've ran one already, so lead to contact here, and I'm going to view the results. And yeah, this page has some additional functionality as well. So the first group here, you can see that we see a lead in the group, which is linked to 2 contacts because a scenario was run and the scenario basically matched these ones as duplicates. So now when we want to convert this lead to the contacts, we have to make a decision because we can only convert a lead to 1 contact. Things that we changed here that we didn't have in the previous page was the option to merge the 2 contacts that are found, because most likely they are duplicates. And in this case, they are duplicates. So from here, I can do a quick merge, which will make sure that only 1 contact is remained. So a quick merge makes use of merge rules, which are set on the duplicate check setup. So you can take complete control in all the decisions that are made if a record is merged automatically. And now I have a 1-to-1 relationship, so the lead to the contact, and I can click the convert button, which loads our convert modal, which we can choose to convert to existing accounts and existing contacts, or to create a new one. And alongside, we can create an opportunity before we click the convert button. Another thing we can do if we don't want to merge, if there are 2 target contacts, is simply make a decision. So I can click the convert, and now a new modal pops up, which is new. This was not in the previous page. And I can decide if I want to take the first or the second one. In this case, there are duplicates, so it does make sense to merge before converting. Click next, and then we'll open the convert modal for the contact that you've selected. Yeah, so in this page, we got the same share options. Of course, we have the pair view option as well. So you can see how we make the connections, right? Which is really nice. So A is a connection with B and A is a connection with C, which is pretty obvious. But if you have a larger group, it makes sense to see how the group is formed, which gives you a lot of additional information. So Jorg is asking a question: how did Quick Merge realize that the phone number with the extension is the one to keep because of the amount of characters? Well, the decisions that duplicate check makes is if it does an automatic merge, like I just said, is set in rules, and you can change the rules yourself. So in this case, I think it's possible that the rule for what phone number to keep was the one with the most characters. So that's definitely a possibility there. But if you don't like that rule, of course, we can change it, and we can change it to do exactly what you want it to do, more or less.
We have also another question, Ruben, from the chat this time, still on DC job. Is it possible to search for duplicate contacts based on one contact main email address against another contact secondary email address?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. We can do that. We call that cross-field matching. I'm not going to show it right now because it takes a little bit of configuration. We do have a support article on how to set this up, which we will find and send to you. Maybe we can even send it in the chat if more people are interested in this. So yeah, that's more or less what we wanted to show regarding the new features. We did a lot more, by the way, but these are the highlights. So if you want to find out what we did more, feel free to check out our release notes page, which is at plauti.com/support. We got a question from Tony Anderson: when will this be live? Well, everything is already live. It's now live in all the production environments. So whenever we do these webinars, we are going to basically highlight what we already released. So that's good for you to know, so you can already check it out. Well, there is something that I still promise to show you, and that is a sneak peek into our roadmap. So we are currently...
Should we launch the poll first, maybe?
Oh, we forgot the poll. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Yeah, so let's launch our duplicate check poll. The question related this time is: how important is a native data quality solution for you? So the answers are not so important as long as it's cheap. Somehow important. I would like to have consistency with the CRM environment. Important. I don't want tech headaches when I'm working on Salesforce. And very important, my data needs to be secure, easy to manage, and access to the end users. At the moment, seems that it is very important for most of our viewers today, which is pretty good. And we'll also quickly reply to Annika, which asked when we will send a copy of this recording. I guess it's right after right after the live version, right, Ruben?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So yeah, we see basically our viewers having shouldn't invested in VC, of course, and says, but yeah, it's mostly to understand like how much important is to you, at what extent the security is important for our partners. So we see, of course, like the main results is very important. They need to be secure, easy to manage and to access. Immediately followed by important. I don't want to have tech headache when I'm working with Salesforce. And also the somehow important, I would like to have consistency with the CRM environment. So this was the polls for today. I can pass it back to you, Ruben.
Yeah, so what's left is before we go to the Q&A, if there are any more questions, by the way, feel free to ask them now so we can wrap up with a small Q&A. But a sneak peek into our future roadmap, our near roadmap. We are now redesigning the job overview page, which is created in LWC as well. So it's much more quicker. We're going to change things a little bit in terms of how duplicate check displays jobs. It will be more of a log per job, so you can see exactly what happened with the job. We are going to store exactly what scenario was used. In finding duplicate records, we're going to store more metadata about how many records were merged. And we're going to do something with merge error management, so you can easily solve merge errors. So yeah, we're currently building this. We are releasing this in the third quarter of this year. So it's yeah, we're going to release it pretty quick. Yeah, just something to look out for. For data action platform, something that I already mentioned. We are going to launch scheduled jobs. You can schedule jobs to run weekly or daily or monthly. So that's something that comes up, which enables automation with the data action platform, which is really nice, of course. So the Q&A. I think we are out of time a little bit as well, so we might have to keep this a bit short. We will come back to any question that you guys are going to post. So if we don't handle it now, then know that we will get back to you with an answer.
Yeah, we have some questions from before related to that action platform or mass assigned. One of our viewers was asking, can assignment be only made via the use of percentage, or can other criteria be used, for example, state, territories?
I have to read it real quick. Can assignments only be done via the use of percentages, or can other criteria be used, like states or territories? Okay, yeah, right now, assignments or basically the percentage that you saw in assignments are the percentages of what records you are going to distribute. If you want to select records in a different way, then you can take a step back and set up a filter based on certain state or a territory, and then only target those records in a subset, and then divide them to your sales team. So if you want to yeah, basically set filters or create subsets of data before distributing, this is the way to go in DAP, Data Action Platform. Yeah.
Okay. And I see a couple of questions related to pricing. The first one is, it came from an anonymous viewer that was asking if there is like a non-profit pricing for record validation. Yeah, of course. Don't
yeah,
worry.
that's more of a topic for you, Nicola.
Yeah, so we do offer, of course, like a 25% off on all our solutions, of course. And you guys are free to reach out to us at any time to have a tailored offer, of course. The second question is still related also to record validation and data action. If the pricing is related to the number of records as per duplicate check. And if you want, I can also tackle this one if you want. But
yeah,
so you can have another sip of water. So yeah, basically for that action platform is mostly related to features that are related to number of actions, of course, and how many actions per time you want to perform. We can provide you all the links to our pricing pages here in the chat. As of record validation, it's mostly related to credit. So there is like a combination of credits utilized per each type of validation, rather with phone numbers, email addresses, and the physical addresses. And of course, we are happy to provide you with a tailored offer as well, based on your specific needs. Because of course, like there's no way to estimate how many credits you will need, not knowing the exact number of records in your database, and if you want to validate all the three informations, of course. Then we have some more questions. One is related to RV jobs. It says like, are the updates on the duplicate check jobs results be likely to be coming also on record validation soon?
That's definitely on our roadmap. We want to bring all the non-LWC pages to LWC. So exactly the format that you saw in duplicate check. So the results page and the job overview. This is the format that we are going to bring to record validation as well. Data Action Platform is already LWC and uses this functionality already. But record validation is definitely on the roadmap as well, and is going to be in development probably at the end of the year.
Okay, that's I think all of it up to now. If there is any other questions, you guys can drop it now. Or we can go ahead and wrap it up. And maybe, yeah, let's wrap it up. We have a suggestion still from York. It says, like, I do a lot of things record validation does, even though we only use duplicate check up to now. Would be a future feature to include nomenclature to record validation, such as always make it incorporated to ink, or at least state a warning. That would be handy. How does this look in the roadmap, Ruben?
Yeah, so it's funny that you ask, York, because this is actually a feature that we're bringing out for the Data Action Platform. In Data Action Platform, one of the actions that we are working on is a find and replace action. So it basically allows you to target all accounts and say, I want all accounts names that contain incorporated. I want to only change that part to INC, just the abbreviation part. So basically a classic find and replace action, which you can find in other tools as well, but you can apply it to your Salesforce data. So yeah, feel free to take up on a trial of Data Action Platform, because that's the tool that is going to be doing this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it for our Plauti product update of today. Shall you have more questions related to Data Action Platform, record validation, and duplicate check? Please feel free to over to our website, plauti.com, and our team of experts is waiting for you to answer now, even now, to your question, or have it as a dedicated demo of our product schedule as well. Thank you for watching, and until next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.